In this video, we're going to take a look at a feature of Word called Styles. The styles are on the Home tab, and they take up about half of the entire ribbon here. And what a style is it is a collection of formatting attributes that have been given a name. And there are two advantages to using styles. One is it will apply several formatting attributes all at the same time. So let's take a look at this first line here, and let's say that I want to make that heading 1. Well, heading 1 is it has some space before, it is a particular color, it's a particular font, it's bold, and so you can do all of those things with one click. If you didn't use the style, you would have had to have done that with 4 separate formatting commands. So that's one advantage of using styles. A bigger advantage of using styles, especially if you're doing a long document, is styles can be used to structure your document. Okay, I'm going to undo this. And this is kind of a long document. It's an old user guide for a very old program, as you can tell by the reference to Windows 95 and the reference to DOS here. But it is an example of a document that uses a lot of different styles. As you scroll your way through the document, you see a bunch of gray italic text. You see a bunch of light blue bold. You see some of this orange text in the middle in a Courier New font. If you scroll a little bit further down here, eventually we will see some other stuff, some purple text in a box. Okay, those are all styles. If I click on the purple text in the box, you'll see that that's called menu text. If I click outside here, you'll see that's called normal text. So the style will be identified. If I click on the orange stuff here, that's called screen text. If I click on this one, that's a heading 1. If I scroll down a little bit further here, I should find a heading 2. So click on this one, it's a heading 2, and so on. So we've got a bunch of styles in here, and those styles are just a collection of formatting options that have been given a name. These are not the default styles in Word. These have been modified. At least quite a few of them have been modified. So let's look at how to apply some of these styles, how to modify some of the styles, and also how to use styles to structure our document. If you have a long document, styles are really, really handy. So let's start the first line here. This is the title to the whole thing, and there is a title style up here. We're going to click on that, and the title style looks like it is 26-point Cambria. And if I drag the mouse here, there's going to be some spacing after. If I go to layout here, it looks like there's 15 points after, and there is also, if I go back to my Home tab here, and let's go to our border option here, if I go to borders and shading, there is a bottom border that is this particular shade of blue, and it's 1 point. Okay, so that applied quite a few things for me, and it also tells Word that this is the title of my document. Then, so you probably only have that once in a document, or if you're writing a document like a book, and you've got chapters, maybe you put that at the beginning of every chapter. Okay, now down here we've got a section called Introduction. And that is one of the main sections in my document, and I'm going to format that as heading 1. Some of these styles here are paragraph styles, which means that all you have to do is be in the paragraph and it will apply to the entire style. So I don't have to go over here and select the whole line to make it into heading 1. Let's undo that. I can just be someplace in the paragraph and click on heading 1, and now it's a heading 1 style. Right below this is a subsection, and we're going to do that as a heading 2. And that's a lighter blue. It's a smaller font, and if you drag your mouse over here, you can see there's some space on the top of it, and it looks like it's bold as well. Okay. The text down below that is normal. And in this particular document, normal has been defined as Calibri and 14-point, and it's black text, and the line spacing is 1.15. And what have we got for spacing? We've got 6 points after paragraphs, so there's a little bit of extra space between paragraphs down here. And I have a number of things here that are heading 2. And I think if you scroll far enough, you can find some things that are actually heading 3 as well. Let's click on this one and go to our Home tab, and that's still heading 2. So if I want to find them, I can just right-click on heading 3, and I can say select all 28 instances, and now it starts showing me some of the heading 3 styles. Okay. So that's heading 3. This one here, what is this? This is heading 1. And, it kind of looks like the size of the fonts here is not really what it ought to be. You kind of want smaller size fonts as you go down the page. So what if you want to modify a style? It's easy to do. And I think the easiest way to do it is just select one of them. And that's already heading 3. And I don't want 14. Let's go down to, let's say 11. Okay, and we can leave the color. We can leave the font the same. We can still leave it bold. But then go up here and say update heading 3 to match selection. Now this is heading 3 as well. So watch what happens when I click on this. That also gets updated, and other places where I had heading 3s, they have also been updated to agree with this format. So how many things did it say I had in there? I had 28. All 28 of those automatically got changed. So it's a quick way to change the entire look of your document if you want to. So if you're doing a book or a thesis or something like that that's very long, this can help you make your document look consistent throughout. It also makes it very easy to change your document if you decide you want to change the style. You don't have to go through and select the first one and change it, then select the second one and change it, and work your way through everything and do it 28 times. You can do it once, and that's really nice. So I said that these are paragraph styles. If you right-click on one of these, and let's choose Modify. I still think that, changing it here and then choosing Update is the easiest way to change a style. But you can also go to Modify here and click on that. And when we go to Modify, it gives us some information here. It tells us what the name of the style is. It tells us that this is based on the normal text. And if you hit the Enter key, when you're done, it'll change back to normal text. And it also says here, we can't modify this, but that it is a linked paragraph and character, so it applies to the entire paragraph. If you want to make more changes, you can change the font, the size, the style, the color. You can change the alignment, and you can change absolutely anything you want to. You can go down here, and you've got all kinds of things that you can apply to a style. Okay, let's cancel out of that. Now, let's take a look at another advantage of styles. Let's go to our View tab up here, and Word has a feature called Outline. We've got 5 views. Reading mode makes it look like a book. Print is probably what you use 99% of the time. And there's a web layout if you want to see what your document would look like if you saved it as a web page, an HTML document. And then there's an outline view and a draft view, which is basically obsolete. I'm going to click on Outline View. And this is what happens. It changes into this view. And let's scroll all the way up to the top here. And so it shows me kind of an outline. So every time I get to a new heading style that's a higher number than the one above it, it gets indented a little bit. And it shows me everything in my document. This is not what you'd want to do to edit your document, but it does have some nice features. One of which is if I go up here and click on Show Level and just say Level 1, then it will show me everything that is heading 1, and that's all. If I want to show Level 2, it'll show me all of the Level 1s and all of the Level 2s. And if I click on the plus sign, I can see what's inside of those. So it lets you look at the overall structure of your document, and that's what I was talking about when I said that styles let you identify the structure of your document. And here's another neat feature. If I decide that I want the season program to be above the game program, I can just go click on this and I can drag it up above the game program, and everything that is in that entire section comes with it. So you can sort your data real easily here. So this could be a huge document, and you can basically condense it down to the heading 1s and the heading 2s and the heading 3s and so on. When you're done doing this, should undo that. Let's get them back in the correct order. And when you're done doing that, you can close the outline view. There's another, I'm going to do Control Home. There's another big advantage to doing the heading styles, and that is it takes that structure information from the heading styles, and if you want to go to your References tab up here, there is an option over here called Table of Contents, and we're going to select that and click on the down arrow, and there's not a whole lot of difference between these three options. We'll just pick the first one, and by default it will insert a table of contents for us. And if we go back up here to the top, by the way, you notice when I move the mouse over it, the whole thing turns gray. So this is a field that was inserted into your document. That's Word's way of telling you that you didn't type it in, but Word put it there for you. So everything that was formatted with the heading 1 style is going to look like this. Everything that was a heading 2 style is going to be indented, you know, about a character or two here, and it's going to be a little bit smaller. And if we go down a little bit further here, this is heading 2, this is heading 3. So the stuff in italics is going to be heading 3. And you can control, if you go back to that table of contents box, you can go in here and you can modify it. So if you don't want all 3 of them, or if you want 4 levels of headings to be displayed in your table of contents, you can do that. So one click and automatically updates everything here. So if I were to go in and delete like a whole page of my document, let's just go down here and I'm going to delete from introduction here. Okay. So I'm going to do a Control X on that, and that is more than a page. Now, the section called Making Backup Copies is on page 4 now, and if I scroll back up to my table of contents and look at Making Backup Copies, let's see, it still says that's page 2. And it does not automatically update this like most of the fields in Word. If you want to update it, you need to right-click and tell it that you want to update the field. And watch these numbers over here, basically from page 2 on down. If I tell it to update the field, all those pages got changed. You really would not want to have to go back and type in all the page numbers yourself if you inserted some text or deleted some text from your document. So this is a really, really handy way if you're doing a large document to create a table of contents for it. Okay, let's look at a few more things here. Let's go back to our Home tab and just a couple of other things. One is some of these styles here are not paragraph styles. Let's right-click on Subtle Emphasis here and click on Modify, and it will show you that this is a character type. And so it will format whatever characters you have selected. It does not apply to the entire paragraph. So if you notice, that subtle emphasis text was used a number of places in here for the name of the program, which was StatPro. So if I were to right-click on this and say modify all 210 instances, or select all 210 instances, it would show me all of those. But it would just be the word StatPro and maybe some other stuff that I emphasized in the document as well. So some of these are just character formatting. Some of them are paragraph formatting. Okay, and let's scroll down a little bit here. I want to get out of the table of contents. So let's scroll down a little bit here, and let's take, let's say you want to make up your own style. So let's select this paragraph right here, and that's based on normal. There's another one, and these are defaults that come with Word, although the size of the font here has been changed. There's a no spacing one too, that doesn't put spacing between the paragraphs if you'd prefer that. Let's say that we wanted to find a style of our own because we're going to be applying the same formatting over and over and over in many places in our document. Well, let's select it, and let's do some really interesting things here to make this really stand out. We'll give it red text with yellow highlighting. We'll make it all bold. Whoops, I got to select it first, because bold is a character formatting, not paragraph formatting. And well, let's put a border around it. Let's put a outside border, And let's make that outside border. Let's go and let's make it a little fatter. And let's make it a different color. And click on OK. And now what we'd want to do is we want to make that into a new style. So let's go up here and choose Create a Style. And I'm just going to call this My Style. And it shows me what it's going to look like. And I'm going to click on OK. And now I'm going to go down here, I'm going to select this stuff, and I'm going to tell it that I want that to be a My Style. Okay, and the highlighting does not come with it, but everything else does. So the font, the border, and if you get two borders together, they're going to look like a single border around them. But now anytime I want to make something look like that, I just go here, and that's a paragraph formatting. Let me see, let's check and see if that is or not. Let's say I want to modify it. Yeah, so that'll be a paragraph. And so if I just click here and I tell it I want that to be my style, then it all turns red and bold and gets a green border and whatever other attributes I applied to it. So, so use that whenever you have something in your document and it's a long document and you have something that you think you all want to look alike. Even if you think you'll never change it. This is a way you can make sure that they all look exactly alike. So you don't have to remember, 5 or 6 or 7 different formatting commands every time you want to make something look a particular way. You can just create the style, apply the style every time, and then you know for sure that they're all going to look exactly the same. And as a bonus, if you do decide that you want to change them, it's basically one command instead of going through and changing a whole bunch of different things. So styles aren't a big deal if you're doing, a 1-page or 2-page or even a 5-page document. But if you're doing a long document, like a book or a thesis, you definitely want to use styles.